Did it mess you up again?
Wow. Okay.
It failed again.
Well, sorry. There's supposed to be. There's supposed to be a. Let's go for it. I'll try and figure out. Go for
Okay.
it.
All right, Mom.
Go ahead,
This
D.
is crazy hard. I know. Sorry about that.
Go ahead, D.
Okay. You ready to say yes? 3, 2, 1?
Mhm.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to PNN KXU 96.1 FM. Poe People's Revolutionary Radio on the dial in Oakland and streaming live online at www.poemagazine.org/radio. This is D. Allen, formerly houseless Poe poet and poverty scholar with Poe Magazine, in studio with fellow and former houseless poet, homefulness resident, and poverty scholar Tani.
Yeah, this is PNN, not CNN, people. That's Poor People's Revolutionary Radio. And bear with us today because we having, the digital street walk nightmare today. Everything's going wrong. This is PNN, not CNN. And this poem is in honor of homeless mothers and poor mothers, low-wage mothers and no-wage mothers, welfare mothers and three-job working mothers, migrante mothers and incarcerated mothers. In other words, this poem is in honor of all those poor women and men. And yes, I said men, because don't sing me that song about gender again, who fight and struggle and steal and beg in every crevice and corner to keep our kids in a bed. Today's show is in honor of a 1-year-old baby who is shot, killed, because mama needed to liberate diapers from corporate Walmart, aka Slave Mart. Right now, we're going to show a little bit of this video, and then we will be talking about this later in the show. Oh, no, we won't be showing the video, and you can look it up. But what I will tell you all is that this very experience is why poor people like us, poor and houseless mamas like us, created the Welfare Queens Project, small W, capital Q, while we resist with Poor Mama's Pañale or Poor Mama's Diaper Fund, and why we try to do whatever we can every day in this corporate stolen land they call Americlan. That baby should still be here. That mama needed diapers. So what? What's that crime? To learn more about the story, you can also go to poormagazine.org to my sister Kunande Ekshaba, who wrote a beautiful piece as one of my fellow welfare queens. We've been here, done this. I was incarcerated because I stole diapers. So, yeah. Sending out love to that baby spirit. Oh, Mateo.
Criminalizing our survival to forced labor of houseless people. On today's show, we are blessed to speak with warrior advocates from the National Homeless Law Center from back East Turtle Island who have been working to fight for the rights of us, houseless and Poe people, on many fronts, and most recently have been working to resist a new law that was passed, which forces houseless people to work, which is ironic because most of us are already working. Before we get into that and much more, First, we go to Ruthless Radio, Poverty Scholar reporters, and hard workers struggling with these ongoing and violent sweeps. Violence right here in occupied Huachuma, who we are trying to support with Homefulness Hotel Fund because these settler governments are doing nothing for us.
Well, I was in a domestic violence situation, which led me to become homeless. Just recently, I found a street on 71st that other people were dealing with the same situation. And, we had all congregated there, which is a way for us to look out for each other. And then just out of nowhere, the city just said we had to be out of there. And they just came and tore everything down and tore all our stuff down and the makeshift homes that we made, tents and abandoned cars, and they just tore everything down and just displaced all of us. So
I lost my son not too long ago, which made me homeless. I've been currently living from my car to my RV. They help people that came about. They wasn't really worried about the people who really lost their stuff.
Okay.
So I've been still in the area, sleep outside on the ground for about 2 weeks now.
I'm sorry about that. Well, thank you for sharing your struggle. And thank you for the folks for donating. Yes.
Thank you.
I'm PTS, post-traumatic stress disorder. So I really have a hard time out here on the street, because I'm a Christian now. And they eat me alive being a good person out here. So I'm just trying to get away from around all the negativity and just, get into a community or something that's positive.
What were you staying at? Did you experience any of the streets that are happening in the city?
Backs had me housed, and they just evicted me because somebody called the police on me. And false terrorist threats, man. Somebody wanted my position because I've been there 2 years. Somebody came in a matter of months and just called the police, and they wanted me out of there, man. Serve God, the devil was at work, So that's all I can see, because I ain't doing nothing wrong nowadays.
Well, just, man, keep out, the good in you. And again, thank you. We want to say thank you to the folks who help us with the donations for the hotel fund. Today, we got about 8 people, So, all right, brother.
Thank you.
So, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
So we're again, this hotel fund is just temporary housing. We don't got much, but as fellow poor people, we know that whatever we do got, we want to make sure that we radically share it with fellow relatives. I just want to, I don't know if we have the flyer to bring up, but people should know that the Homefulness Hotel Fund is solely supported by Radical Redistributors. Thank you, relatives who listen and watch. Basically, there's no money, support, anything from these settler governments. All they continue to do is sweep us like we're trash. So if folks are able to support, you can go to Venmo, Poor-Magazine, or PayPal, poormag@gmail.com. Again, yesterday in our Poor People's Radio newsroom, there were actually 12 people who showed up, and we were only able to raise resources for 8 of them. And this is happening every day while they continue to sweep us like we're trash. So thank you, relatives, for supporting. Thank you for keeping this work up. And we'll talk more about this later in the show. Right now, I want to bring in a warrior comrade who is part of the Homeless Law Center back east, have been fighting the good fight every day. It's a nonstop battle because these settler governments continue to come up with new legislations to criminalize our bodies and our lives for the sole act of being poor. Jesse, welcome to Poor People's Radio.
We can't hear you. Hold on. Okay.
Sorry, say
Sorry,
something.
April. Thanks for having me. Just really excited to be here. One quick correction: I'm actually not an attorney, so apologies for the confusion.
Appreciate you. There's a lot of things that you guys have been working on, and it just seems like that we get one and then another pops up. Tell listeners and viewers what's going on with this law that was just passed, this
Yeah,
forced labor chain gang law, as I like to call it. Go ahead.
absolutely. Late last week, the governor of Louisiana signed a law that does a few different things. Notably, it also doesn't do some things which are really important to name. So what the law does not do is make housing cheaper. It does not provide services. It does not make gas cheaper. It doesn't make food cheaper. It doesn't make healthcare cheaper. All it does is make homelessness worse. And it will force homeless people to choose between jail or forced treatment. It doesn't say what the treatment is for. It doesn't say what type of treatment it is. And then it also says you have to pay for the treatment. And if you can't afford that treatment, then you may be required to do unpaid labor for either a nonprofit or the state. It's deeply, deeply concerning, reminiscent of both Louisiana's racist past and present, and shows how far backwards we are going, not just in regards to homelessness, but as a country.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that strikes us first off, and like my brother D said in the opening, first of all, we already working. There are so many people who happen to not have access to the lie of rent. Hello, that at least out here in the Bay, $3,000 for a studio apartment, for crying out loud. But we're holding down 2, 3, 4 jobs sometimes just to keep, expenses going.
At the bare minimum,
Right.
$4,000 for like a 1-bedroom apartment, if you could believe that.
Exactly.
$4,000.
Exactly. So this idea, first of all, that we're not working is yet another, anti-poor people myth, right? And then the other thing is, of course, it's just like Hellfare, which and the meager grant they give us for the food stamp crumbs, which now has a forced labor requirement, right? Which is, again, we're already working. I don't even understand what that freaking means. But then the other thing is, who gets the resources from this labor? I mean, it's bringing up to me the plantation prison labor. It's bringing up the chain gangs. It's bringing up that kind of mess.
And what about those houseless people who are collecting recyclables from here, there, and everywhere and trying to make money off of that? They're not getting government crumbs. They're just trying to put money in their own pockets so they could survive the streets.
Exactly. Those are survival labor, and there wouldn't be even time to do that.
That's poor people working as well.
Exactly. Any comments on that, Jesse?
Well, one thing that I think is really, maybe two things that I think are important to name. One, in the Senate, when they were discussing this, they were voting on a bunch of bills that day. And the day they voted for this, they also voted for a bill that gave elected officials $1,000 a month housing stipend, because they said, it's really expensive. The housing market's really expensive. We need help. And they use their power to help make sure the government help pay their rent. So if you're a person in power, the government, and you need help, the government will help you. But if you're poor or living outside, the government is not only not going to help you, they're going to lock you up. And it just shows how divergent we value some people's lives in this country. And then the other thing to name is that this bill is part of a coordinated campaign by a billionaire-backed group called the Cicero Institute, which is deeply related to the Trump administration, to Palantir, to private prisons, to surveillance technology, to all of these forces. And the Cicero Institute championed this bill in Louisiana. They have championed anti-homeless bills across the country, and they are now shaping White House policy. So I want people to know that this bill is not an accident. It is not a fluke. It is part of a broader billionaire-backed campaign to make it illegal to be homeless in this country and to make it easier to force homeless people into prisons, into detention camps, and into forced labor. It should be alarming to everybody because we know with
I
homeless
feel
folks.
like all this does is create a whole new problem in itself, like local jail overpopulation or state prison population overpopulation.
For real. I mean, I think exactly. I just wanted to kind of go back a little bit because people don't know about the Cicero thing. And I know you guys have been focusing in on that corporate giant. You could tell us a little bit about the Cicero tech billionaire, trillionaire, whatever they are, the bloodstained dollar hoarders. And they have connections to ICE as well. Can you tell listeners and viewers about that?
Sure. So the Cicero Institute is behind a lot of these state level anti-homeless laws. They are shaping White House policy. They asked the Supreme Court to file to rule in favor of Grant Pass, which the Supreme Court did. In the 2 years since that ruling, over 320 cities have made it a crime to be homeless. And as I mentioned, they're pushing for this bill in Louisiana as well. They were founded by a guy named Joe Lonsdale, who made billions of dollars as the co-founder of Palantir, which sells all sorts of technology to ICE, to federal government, to other governments that they use to find and target migrants. Then Joe Lonsdale also has a venture capitalist firm called 8VC, which is invested in things that stand to profit from the very anti-homeless bills that his institute is passing. He's also personally connected with and friends with many people in the private prison industry, which should be troubling as these laws will increase the number of folks in jails and in prisons. And then they're also deeply embedded in the Trump administration, not just through donations, but through regular contact with the White House and through shaping policy. It should not be a controversial thing to say that billionaires should not be shaping homelessness policy in this country, but that is what is literally happening right now, and it should be alarming to all of us because we know that we need to be listening to people who live outside, people who have experienced homelessness, not these ultra-conservative billionaires who have probably never talked to a poor person in their life.
Yeah, for real. I mean, one of the things we say is why are non-profiteers and billionaires and, out here we have these fools like the Salesforce CEO coming up with a homeless program. All these people ain't never missed a meal making policy for folks like us who have struggled our entire life. I mean, it's so many layers of wrong. I wanted to just bring up, Sue, something else that I noticed that you all talked about, which is that actually since Trump, and this is something that never gets talked about, we know the evil orange crackerjack in the white people's house is already, raining terror on everything and everyone. But one of the things that I think doesn't get spoken about is something that I saw brought up with y'all in your social media, which is that since his reign of terror, homelessness has increased. I was wondering if you could speak on that a little bit.
So we actually don't have a ton of data about what homelessness looks like during the Trump administration. We know that according to the point in time, which is just one way to measure data, that homelessness was down a tiny bit at the end of Biden's term. But the truth is, Trump has proposed massive cuts to housing first, to supportive services, to healthcare, to food. Some of those are thankfully being stopped, at least for now, in court systems. But if Trump is to get his way, he's going to force tens of, if not hundreds of thousands of people out of housing and into the streets. We already know that he's not actually serious about making housing cheaper. He's not serious about solving homelessness, right? He's serious about using homeless people as political pawns to enact his authoritarian takeover of this country. And that is exactly what's happening in Louisiana, in Utah, right? They're talking about building a 1,300 bed detention center for homeless people. We've seen this before and we know how it ends, but right now we have an opportunity to stop it from happening, right? Our partners in Utah have successfully delayed that detention center. We were not able to stop this bill in Louisiana, but we were able to raise its public profile. So now people know very clearly that instead of making rent cheaper, instead of helping people make ends meet, Louisiana elected officials use their power to give themselves a housing stipend. The very same day, they made it illegal to sleep outside and paved the way to force homeless people into forced labor.
Wow.
Most people know that's not right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and right here, I'll just speak to, let's be real. You don't need the so-called Republic crap haters. We have the Democons right here in the Bay Area who are ordering. I mean, we heard from some of our Ruthless Radio reporters in the beginning, ordering 5 to 6 sweeps a day, the hygienic metaphor about our bodies just because we're outside, like we're trash, while cutting, reflecting those budget genocide of not just Trump, but of the whole neoliberal system we're struggling under, cutting all of the housing. The other thing I think it's important to lift up is the rise in actual market rate rents, which is, I don't know if it's the same out where y'all are, but it's insane out here. It seems to be literally going higher weekly, right? Making it more impenetrable and impossible to get inside. I mean, to the point where, like you saw in the beginning, we have this thing called the Lie of Rent Fund. And shout out to our radical redistributors and our community reparators, without whom we couldn't do this work. But, we can't even raise enough to pay these insane rents. I mean, we're talking about babies and children on the street. Anyway, oh my God. So yes, you're right. We can resist. I know that you all have been doing a badass job. How can folks, listeners and viewers, follow and support the beautiful work of the Homeless Law Action Center?
Check us out online, homelesslaw.org. Check us out on social media. We're on all the big social media things. And if you want to join the Housing Not Handcuffs campaign, join us at housing.handcuffs.org. We have a lot of fun stuff cooked up, both for the summer and for the following year. I just want to highlight a thing we did. Now, 2 weeks ago at this point, these billionaires at the Cicero Institute had their first ever conference on homelessness in Washington, D.C. And while they were inside kind of spouting their racist lies about homeless people, we were outside telling the truth. We brought people from across the country who have been impacted by these anti-homeless laws, and we made our voices heard. We really annoyed the billionaires inside the conference. But the thing that is giving me hope is that people actually heard us outside and they left the conference. And they heard the truth being spoken and they joined with us, which shows me that we can win when we tell the truth, when we are honest, and when we work together, that we can build this movement that we all need. Because as you were saying, rent's too damn high for everybody, And until we address the fact that our housing system is rigged for billionaires, we're not going to solve homelessness. But I think more and more people are getting wise to the fact that this housing system is not working, or it's working exactly as designed. And we need to build a new housing system that puts people over profit.
Oh, Mateo, that's what's up. And I mean, that's why we're here doing Homefulness, a homeless people solution to homelessness. Again, only possible because folks with different forms of race and class privilege radically redistribute, because we know the government has nothing for us. Appreciate you so much, Jesse, and all the comrades at Homeless Law. You guys, are doing the work. And I got to say, that's also revolutionary as lawyers and folks who have that kind of privilege and access working in that way, in that world, and that work. We appreciate you so much.
It was really good to be with y'all. I hope y'all stay as safe as possible, and we're just grateful to be in relationship with y'all.
I say. All right, we'll talk soon.
All right, have a good day, y'all.
You too. Yeah, you watching and listening to Poor People's Radio. That's PNN, not CNN, people. We struggling along here. Our youth scholar Tibu's not here today, so we're working it out. But bear with us, family. I just want to, I don't know if we can bring up the other video real quick. The other,
Of who?
the second Roofless Radio.
Yes.
Just because I want to make sure, and before we do that, if you can hold on one sec, I just want to make sure that people understand when we're talking about houselessness, we're not talking about, one monolith. We're talking about elders, babies. We're talking about your grandmama, your uncle, your tia, your tío. We're talking about people who are gravely disabled. And shout out to my brother Leroy Moore and Crip Hop Nation and to all the warriors who never see us. And we're here to uninvisibilize. Also, I just want to say for those of you who don't hear or see this work happening, it is endless, it is hard, and it is gut-wrenching because we don't have enough to support all of our relatives, and we're continuing to live in a system that is set up from the get-up to incarcerate every poor person it gets. So we want to lift up the voices. And in this particular case, the elder that you're about to hear is dealing with a grave illness and also homelessness, which is like so many of us on the street.
This is Lonnie White. I've been homeless for a while. I have second-stage cancer. I haven't been able to get any proper rest or take my medications properly because I have nowhere that I can be safe. That's basically my story.
Where were you staying before?
Here and there, in a car, wherever was available.
Have you experienced any of the sweeps that are happening here in Oakland?
The violent, yeah, I've been put out of places. I've been put out for ridiculous reasons. The last place I was at was unhealthy for me, and it ended up causing me going back in the hospital. I had a stroke. And that's basically it. I'm just trying to survive.
So again, trying to support people with these grassroots concepts of radical redistribution. If you can support the Homefulness Hotel Fund, I don't know if you have the flyer, Moot, but you can do that on PayPal, poormag@gmail.com, or you can do it on Venmo, Poor Magazine. I emailed it to you, but that's okay. But it's all good. The Lie of Rent Fund, which is currently supporting 6 different families, also is something we do, which is to try to keep people inside, which, as you heard, the rents are too damn high everywhere. We can't afford to even stay inside, oftentimes once we have places. So these forms of radical redistribution are really right now some of our only ways of staying inside. I think that Mood's sharing that right now. Is that the flyer? Hold on one sec, folks. Again, we're doing our best over here. So it's all good. Yeah, so thank you, family. Thank you for supporting us always, without which we could not do this work. Oh, yeah. So we're just doing a shout out about the movie real quickly.
And we have 2 screenings coming up.
That's right. So basically on June 25th, as you all know, we're cultural workers and poets because that's also the way that we survive. Myself, my brother D, and my brother Mutiado are all formerly houseless poverty scholars ourselves, and we are in said movie. Can you tell us about it, D, the one coming up on June 25th?
The one on June 25th will be in Los Angeles.
Exactly. At the Eagle Theater, the Vidiots. I think it's on the front page of Poor Magazine if you just bring up that box. And you can get your tickets if you're, shout out to all of our Tavanga relatives who might be listening and watching. You can get tickets literally on poormagazine.org.
And we have a second screening a month later on July 25th in San Francisco once again.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's at the with our comrades from the Association for Social and Economic Justice. It's the 7th annual film festival, and we are blessed to be showing on July 25th at 4 p.m. at the Victoria Theater.
The Victoria Theater at the corner of 16th and Cap.
Ashe. So you can get tickets again by going to poormagazine.org. And just there's these little portals on the front page. Please do. Please support us. It's a no budget movie because we need to tell our stories to create change. And this movie is a prayer for change.
So that's all for this edition of Poe People's Radio. To get our complete podcast, go to Poe Magazine on SoundCloud or poemagazine.org or wherever you get your podcast. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, Blue Sky at Poe Magazine or at Poverty Scholar. Or to get all the complete video podcasts, subscribe to us on YouTube, the Poe News Network channel on YouTube. All power to the people.
Power. Sorry, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We love you. We appreciate you. Come back next week. Oh, Mateo.